back in 2013. When I was just 22 years old, I found myself in possession of an old computer that I no longer had any use for. It was nothing remarkable, just a dusty relic taking up space in my room. Yet, I couldn't bear to throw it away, thinking that perhaps someone else could find a purpose for it, no matter how outdated it seemed. In my quest to part ways with this technological artifact, I turned to Craigslist, the ubiquitous online marketplace that seemed to offer a solution to everything. With its ease of use and widespread popularity, Craigslist appeared to be the perfect platform to offload my unwanted goods. Besides, I had never heard any horror stories about using it, so I felt a sense of trust in the system. Within a mere day of posting the ad for my old computer, I received a response from a prospective buyer named Cameron. He expressed interest in purchasing the computer at the listed price and proposed that we meet the following morning to complete the transaction. Cameron assured me that he would send an email when he was en route to my location. Anticipating a hassle-free exchange, I eagerly agreed to the arrangement. However, as the appointed time approached, there was no sign of Cameron. Despite patiently waiting and keeping an eye out for his email notification, he failed to materialize, leaving me perplexed and somewhat disappointed by his unexplained absence. Later that same day, while engrossed in a television show to distract myself from the disappointment of the missed meeting, I caught sight of a car parked ominously outside my house. It lingered there for an unnervingly long time before abruptly speeding off into the distance. Although I initially assumed it might be Cameron finally arriving, the lack of any communication from him afterward left me puzzled. His mysterious disappearance only added to the growing sense of unease that was beginning to gnaw at the edges of my consciousness. As night fell and I settled into bed, hoping to put the day's strange events behind me, I was jolted awake by a series of ominous thuds emanating from downstairs. Heart pounding, I cautiously descended the stairs to investigate the source of the unsettling noise. What I encountered next would haunt me for years to come. Through the dim light filtering in from the moonlit night, I saw a shadowy figure lurking just beyond the window, their eyes fixed intently upon me. Fear gripping me like a vice, I immediately phoned the authorities, but by the time they arrived, the intruder had vanished without a trace. Though I never discovered the identity of the mysterious trespasser, the chilling encounter left an indelible mark on my psyche, instilling a newfound wariness of online transactions and prompting me to swear off Craigslist for good. A couple of years ago, I found myself in the exciting yet daunting process of moving into a new apartment. With the excitement of a fresh start also came the need for furniture. As I perused various online platforms for affordable options, I stumbled upon a promising bed frame listing on Craigslist. The price seemed reasonable, and the photos displayed a sturdy piece of furniture that would complement my new living space perfectly. Eager to finalize the furnishing of my apartment, I promptly arranged to meet the seller later that evening. As I embarked on the journey to the address provided by the seller, a sense of apprehension began to gnaw at the edges of my excitement. The route took me through a neighborhood that seemed frozen in time, with dilapidated houses lining the streets like forgotten relics of the past. Despite my growing unease, I pressed on, determined to complete the transaction and secure the much-needed bed frame for my apartment. Upon arriving at the seller's house, my apprehension intensified when I noticed the front door standing wide open, inviting me into the unknown. Stepping cautiously inside, I was greeted by the seller, whose outward demeanor appeared friendly enough. However, there was an underlying tension in the air that I couldn't quite shake. As we exchanged pleasantries, I couldn't help but notice subtle cues that hinted at something amiss, like the way his eyes darted around the room or the forced cheerfulness in his voice. As the conversation progressed, the seller offered me a drink, which I politely declined, citing a prior engagement. However, he insisted, his demeanor shifting from friendly to slightly aggressive. Sensing the growing discomfort in the room, I made a hasty excuse and attempted to leave. Yet, to my dismay, the seller became increasingly pushy, blocking my path and urging me to stay a while longer. With each passing moment, my unease deepened, and I felt a sense of urgency to extricate myself from the situation before it escalated further. In the end, I managed to escape the confines of the seller's house without incident, breathing a sigh of relief as I stepped out into the cool evening air. However, the lingering sense of unease followed me home, plaguing my thoughts long after the encounter had ended. Reflecting on the unsettling experience, I couldn't shake the nagging question of what the seller's true intentions had been. It served as a stark reminder of the importance of listening to my instincts and exercising caution, especially in dealings with strangers online. A few years ago, I found myself in a rather precarious situation in desperate need of temporary housing near my family. After tirelessly scouring online listings for what seemed like an eternity, I stumbled upon a promising ad on Craigslist. The description of the property appeared to tick all the right boxes, offering exactly what I needed for the duration of my stay. With a sense of relief washing over me, I eagerly reached out to the landlady, and to my delight, she agreed to a short-term lease without any hesitation. Without further ado, I packed my belongings and embarked on this new chapter of my life, filled with hope and anticipation. As the days turned into weeks, and I settled into my new abode, everything seemed to be going smoothly. The rental property proved to be everything the listing had promised, providing me with a comfortable and secure place to call home during this transitional period. However, it wasn't long before an unexpected incident shattered the tranquility of my temporary sanctuary. One evening, there came a sudden and unexpected knock at the door, interrupting the serenity of the evening. With a sense of trepidation gnawing at my gut, I cautiously approached the door, unsure of what to expect on the other side. To my surprise, a stranger stood before me, claiming to be a service technician scheduled to clean the fireplace. Despite feeling a nagging sense of unease creeping up my spine, I hesitantly allowed him entry, reasoning that it must have been a routine service arranged by the landlady. However, as the stranger drew nearer, his demeanor took on an unsettling edge, and a wave of discomfort washed over me like a sudden chill in the air. His insistence on commencing the job immediately, coupled with his intrusive attempts to block my path, set off alarm bells in my mind. With a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach, I realized that something was gravely amiss. Summoning every ounce of courage I possessed, I managed to extricate myself from the stranger's grasp and swiftly retreated to the safety of my sanctuary. Hastily reaching for my phone, I dialed the emergency number and summoned the authorities, desperately seeking refuge from the looming threat that had invaded my once peaceful abode. However, by the time the police arrived on the scene, the mysterious intruder had vanished into the night, leaving behind a lingering sense of fear and uncertainty in his wake. In the aftermath of this harrowing ordeal, I found myself grappling with a newfound awareness of my own vulnerability. The realization that I had unwittingly placed myself in harm's way served as a stark wake-up call, reminding me of the importance of exercising caution and discernment in all aspects of life. From that moment onward, I resolved to approach every decision with heightened vigilance, thoroughly vetting potential landlords and always trusting my instincts, no matter how insignificant they may seem. For in a world fraught with uncertainty and peril, it is only by remaining steadfast in our resolve to safeguard our well-being that we can hope to navigate the treacherous waters of life unscathed.